today for this session we have with us Shri Sanjeev Chadda ji with us, Professor Sanjeev Chadda, who is working as Professor and Head at Management Development Center, Mahatma Gandhi State Institute of Public Administration, Punjab. So in Chandigarh, it is an institute that is into the training of PCS officers for the state of Punjab, and earlier it used to have many centers for training the NGO people, training even MLAs also, and running different courses for civil services aspirants also. And regarding Dr. Chadda, he's a very learned person and very humble one. He has worked with Delhi Financial Corporations in project appraisals, appraising projects for setting up new enterprises in the past. And then he was associated with NITI Chandigarh also as a resource person, even before my joining. Then Sir has worked as a Dean Management Studies at Baddi University, Baddi also. Then Sir has run his own educational management institution also, higher educational institution also, for several years. Then he again shifted back to academics. Then Sir is presently working as Professor and Head of Management Development Center at Mahatma Gandhi State Institute of Public Administration, Punjab. So I welcome you, sir, to this training program. I request you to be with the participants and engage your session on carbon credits and ecopreneurial opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Good morning to all of you, all the participants at various centers and participants who are present live here. Good morning. See, this topic, when we talk about carbon credits and carbon credit trading and what are the opportunities available, this topic is quite apt today because we are now started talking about sustainable development. And when we talk about sustainable development, we have to balance two aspects. One is development, and other aspect is keeping in view the environmental factors or ecology. So all the development that needs to be done has to be kept in mind that the environment balance should not be disturbed, that harmony should not be disturbed, and there should be no conflict between industrialization on the one hand and the environment on the other aspects. Over all these years, what has happened is that certain countries which we term today as the developed world or industrially developed countries, these countries by way of pollution, by way of emissions into the environment, have actually made the environment quite dirty. And the environment has been polluted to that an extent that today we are facing many problems in terms of the balance of the ecology. This one term that generally is being used is termed as the greenhouse gases effect, or the greenhouse effect, wherein it is putting such an adverse aspect on our environment that even the climate today is not stable. In winters, you tend to have rains, and in rainy season, you tend to have snow, and in summers, you tend to have maybe the spring. So even that ecological balance has been disturbed to that very extent. And somehow the human beings are blamed for all these aspects, especially those countries which wanted to have development by way of industrial revolution. And this industrial revolution has led us to that extent that tomorrow maybe the things that are available today may not be available tomorrow. In terms of many negative aspects are coming up. Your flora, fauna is being disturbed, your climate is being disturbed. Many animals, plants, species which we see today would not be available to the next generations that are coming up. So in view of this, this topic that we are discussing today is quite apt, wherein we are talking about green entrepreneurs or ecopreneurs as such, wherein these are the people who need to balance between industrialization on one hand and industrialization on one hand, and the need for having an ecological balance on the other hand. So my topic as such today, the objective will be to understand what is carbon credits and just to give a gist of how carbon trading is done. And the mother of all this, the idea that carbon tradings and carbon credits came from a conference, which we term as a Kyoto Protocol, wherein certain countries, they came together to come up with such kind of an agreement that today many countries, around 190 countries or so, have started walking the talk. They have started coming into this direction of sustainable development, of ecopreneurship, or what you termed as a green entrepreneur. See, when we talk about ecopreneurs as compared to or vis-a-vis the entrepreneurs, how they are different. Because if you go by what commerce says, or what commercial aspect says, it says that any company or any organization exists to make profits. And that's the bottom line, that's the baseline which all companies exist. And through this baseline, and it is common to all companies throughout the world, that if there is an organization, these organizations are generally for-profit organizations, wherein they exist to make profit and they sustain on the profits, and no roadmap has been provided that how they make the profits. So in this scheme here, the means and an end part has to be seen. So that means, though yes, they have to follow the legal rules of the country wherein they are operating, and today some globalized rules also, but then nobody talked about the aspect or the negative aspect an industry can have on environment basis. So therefore, when you see the difference between ecopreneur also wants profits. Ecopreneur also wants some kind of good sales turnover, good income, and as such good output as such. But then his basic objective is that his means should also be good, in the sense that he will try to make profits by not disturbing the environment, by having a balance between industrialization on one hand and the ecology balance on the other hand. So these opportunities which are available to him to convert certain areas which were hitherto known in traditional areas, or those areas wherein lot of pollution was being done. So he has lot many opportunities available here. Say for example, today the general emissions are being produced by all kinds of fossil fuels, and meaning thereby that all kind of petrol, diesel, the emissions from the industrial chimneys, and certain gases like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, chlorofluorocarbons, HFCs, all these are being produced. And tomorrow, let's say some industry, it shifts from a traditional non-renewable energy basis to it known as a renewable energy basis. So that opportunity is available, and the person who does it, he becomes an ecopreneur or a green entrepreneur. So take the case of somebody shifting from, let's say, power generation from coal to power generation from windmills, or power generation from sun, or power generation from air. So any other kind of these sources, so which are not only renewable in nature, but it has very little emissions. The negative aspects on the pollution is very little. And over a period of time, you can link this up to the sustainable development, wherein the next generation would be able to see everything that we are seeing today. And many opportunities came by, and certain of these, as you can see on the slide, these were the ecopreneurs who actually made hay while the sun shines. We know that there are electrical bikes available today, by the name of one brand is Reva, where this is again an alternative. And today, many other companies have come up with battery operated devices also, which are less polluting aspects. I think we have Hero Motors also, others also, and this is now allowed. Even if you see in Chandigarh, we have something known as e-rickshaws also, which are available. If you just go onto the Sukhna Lake, you find these going on aspect, as compared to the auto rickshaws, which are quite polluting in nature. So these are come out battery oriented. I don't say that they may have their own problems over a period of time, but today they are much better than those autos and those automobiles which are running on fossil fuels like diesel, petrol, and they are much better that way. And certain companies like Suzlon, they have come out with their own plants, wind plants, and they are using even biodiesels, which is Jetropa, and they are producing alternative energies. Similarly, there can be another ecopreneur who minimizes the waste by better designing and improved packaging. There's one entrepreneur or a green entrepreneur by the name of Gupta Enterprises based in Chennai, who earned around $11 million by converting, hair to wigs. Hair again is a polluting material, but then once it is converted to wigs, uh, it has a lot of utility throughout the world. You would be aware that there are certain temples in this country wherein people go and shave their heads. So maybe Gupta Enterprises is one of those entrepreneurs who tied up with such temples, and they got trucks and trucks of hair which would have gone waste otherwise, and converted into the wigs, and which was exported also, and he earned a lot. $11 million is a lot of money. Then you have another Ecovision Industries, which converts the bricks. Bricks is generally made from clay, and then they come through, those traditional bhattas, and then bricks are made. So today, the best material that is being available is the fly ash, which is less polluting in nature. Sorry. So the idea is that these people, they are having certain opportunities. They know there are certain problems in the wind. Even the world over, people are aware that if we have to have a sustainable development, we have to reduce the emissions, so that the greenhouses effect is minimized, and our temperature and our planet is saved. So these entrepreneurs are seeing the opportunity into alternative sources, whether it is renewable sources of energy, whether it is some other best way of doing work, or better, whether it is saving energy as such. And then they're coming out with certain ideas, and they're seeing the gaps, and then they're offering these gaps to the people, and in the meanwhile they are earning money also for themselves and for their organizations. Now just take this example wherein one factory or industrial unit, because industrial units are more culprit in terms of emissions of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and all these. It is emitting 1 lakh tons a year, and the government says that we are giving you a quota of 80,000 tons per year. So that means you have to reduce the emission by 20,000 tons per year. Now what does he do? This is one case. Another case is that one producer of steel, he emits 10 tons of carbon dioxide an year, but next year he is increasing his capacity. So therefore his emission will increase to 11 tons, and his quota is of 10 tons. Then what should he do so as that the difference of 1 ton he can so one option to him is that he may not increase his capacity so that his quota of emission remains the same. And second is that he increases his capacity, but then he ties up with somebody else for that difference in the quota of 1 ton. And see, third case you see by that there is an environmentalist group which plants trees, and while planting the trees, they get to reduce the emissions of these greenhouse gases by 1 ton. Now, since it is not using this 1 ton of emissions, so they can very well sell this 1 ton emission to somebody who needs it. If you just see the first 2 case studies, who are deficient by some aspect of these emissions, so they can sell it off, and they can there's a demand of this 1 ton that it has been created. And idea here is that if we go for some technology which is better and which is improving an environment, so that can be converted into some kind of a money, and which can be sold to some other party which is deficient into that aspect. So if you see, otherwise what is happening, and I'll be coming on to this, when we are talking of carbon credit, what basically is carbon credit? See, it means credit given to an organization, or wherein you can have 1 ton of emission which is allowed. So this is a certificate given by a company or a government, which says that you paid to have a certain amount of carbon dioxide removed from the environment. In a simple sense, it means that you can pollute the environment by 1 metric ton. You have a certificate or a license to emit 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide or HFCs or certain gases which are producing greenhouses gases. Now, see, when how did they come into existence? Because when, as I started off, this came into existence because of the negative aspects of your negative aspects of industrialization, wherein people have started now becoming aware that greenhouse gases have been emitting, and there are negative aspects of greenhouse effects. Deforestation is taking place. The seasons are not on the right track. And apart from this, it has a lot of impact on your health and many other diseases, which, there may not be very much studies on this. But yes, there are certain studies which may not be very inclusive and exclusive in nature. But then there are studies which prove that because of pollution, people are getting into different kinds of diseases. If you see, if you are following newspapers and TV channels, the emission rate of Delhi is so high nowadays that some NGO came out with an observation that each citizen of the state of Delhi is smoking around 100 cigarettes a day. See the negative aspects of what you can get with 100 cigarettes a day. Each member of Delhi is getting that even if he's not smoking. So that is the kind of adverse impact that the pollution is having on these because of the emission. That is why even the Supreme Court and all these people, they came out, and then you had this even odd also. Maybe that was a political statement, but then yes, people are now getting aware of all these aspects. And see why this is happening. And the basic culprit and the most prominent culprit here is the fossil fuels. Fossil fuels meaning thereby that your petrol, your diesel, all these, because we are using it, and then your emissions from all the industrial units, which in a big way they are emitting all kinds of gases, and especially your power plants, your cement plants, your steel plants, textile plants, paper plants, fertilizer plants. They are very highly polluting industries. And wherein, all these, they have the boilers, which run with coal, electricity derived from coal, natural gas and oil. So these are the basic culprits who are polluting the environment. And especially apart from the vehicular traffic and all, it is the industrial production, which in a big way has, deteriorated our environment. And herein the developed countries are more to be blamed, because they are the ones who went for reckless industrialization. And because of this aspect, and I think that point of time it was not even thought over. And since they were advanced, and our countries, they caught up later. And while we are also now trying on to industrialize ourselves, countries like China, India, all these, therein it has been made aware, it has been noticed that our ecological balance is going for a 6. So therefore, all these countries now they are putting pressure on the developing world also, that you should behold. You should not industrialize recklessly. I don't know where we have to draw a balance, and that is why this concept of sustainable development has come about. But yes, maybe if you think so, one point of time, that these countries initially they did it, they were the ones to take the lead, they made themselves richer by industrial production. Now, when it is the turn of the developing world to, industrialize themselves and bring about jobs, GDP growth, so then they are being preached by those people that you don't industrialize now. So you may say that no, so chuhe kha ke billi haj ko chale. So that is even that's a big question and a big point that one can be driving upon. And then these gases, as you can see on the screen, carbon dioxide, methane, all they increase the. These are greenhouse gases wherein this is being trapped, and all negative aspects of greenhouse they come about. Now, if we are talking about if we talk about the carbon credits, these are tradable certificates representing the right to emit 1 ton of carbon dioxide or the mass of equivalent of another greenhouse gas equivalent to 1 ton of carbon credits. They are tradable. While we see they are tradable, in the sense that what has been done is that somehow a kind of a pecuniary or a money aspect is being put on pollution. That means it says that, okay, if you want to pollute, pollute, but then pay for it. So that is what is happening. And again, as I said, and it's a big question and a question for debate and acclamation, that those countries, while they were polluting, they were not asked these questions. But while now you will be polluting, then you are asked this question. But otherwise, if you see the overall sense of the global committee, so then it will be good in the sense that this creates awareness about what pollution is, and it allows market mechanisms to drive the process. I mean, it just does not say that you stop it. It says that if you do it, there is a financial aspect to all these aspects. Then what will be coming around is that we will be promoting some kind of a technology which is alternative to the traditional technology, but which is less polluting. Wherein you have the processes, the production, the technology, which will mean less pollution, less greenhouse gases, and less emissions overall. And the goal is that whatever money is being collected here, because now it is tradable, it will be used to finance certain equipments and all, which is therein for the alternative technologies process around the world. And this came around in the year 1992, wherein this Kyoto Protocol came by, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, wherein the parties said that now there is a need. It firstly acknowledged that global warming exists, and man-made carbon dioxides, they are responsible for all this. This was first time in the history of the world committee came together, and they agreed to this aspect that human being is responsible for global warming, and how by way of all these emissions that they are putting in the environment. So in Kyoto, Japan, in the year 1997, they came out with a kind of a treaty wherein there are 192 countries which signed. Later, Canada withdrew on the protocol, which said that we have to reduce the emissions. And just see, the idea was to reduce the emission in 1997 to what was present during 1990 by 5%. So they saw the benchmark was the emissions that were produced during 1990s. And they say our aim is to reduce it by 5% then till 2012. And after this 2012 to 2017, aim is to reduce the emission level by 18%. So that is the aim. Initially they said 5%, now 18% till 2017, and hopefully this will be continued. Further, it said it classified the countries which were signatory to this into 2 domains. One was Annexure A, another was Annexure B. Annexure A are developed countries, Annexure B are developing countries. So herein, because the scope that I have today is slightly smaller, but wherein you can go on and the net and internet Kyoto Protocol, all the terms, conditions, all the salient features are available. So basically the idea was that we should put a monetary kind of a cap on emissions, and every country as such would be assigned, assigned a national registry wherein there will be a cap on what you term as the amount of emissions each country can actually make. So they divided this into what we term as the assigned amount units, or AAUs. AAUs. So this is the quantity of the initial assigned amount in AAUs, which represent an allowance to emit 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide equivalent, and they were entered into the country's national registry. And then these countries were set quotas on emissions of installation run by the local business, generally termed as the operators. So meaning thereby, it is very clear from this that each country, they gave a quota that this is the amount of emission which is permissible to you. And if you go beyond that, then either you have to buy that emission from somebody else, and there will be countries and there will be companies, even in your own country, who are producing more of these AAUs, and which you can buy. So overall, what is happening with this is that overall the emission level remains the same, and those companies and those countries which are culprit in terms of producing more emissions, they may pay for it. So what is being done is that they have linked your emission to some kind of a monetary disadvantage. So those companies and those countries which are capable of producing more emissions, if they want, they say, okay, hum nahi rokte aapko, you do it, go for producing emissions if you think that is therein, but kindly pay for it. And then there will be companies and countries who are into the domain of sustaining their environment by afforestation or by technologies, process, and that's it. By this, they have come out with an alternative monetization system wherein there is a demand for such AAUs which will be bought by the culprit countries and the companies. So both ways it is a win-win situation, and see how smartly they have played it. And this carbon trading is a kind of a commodity trading that has come up. You would have heard the stock markets. So this is commodity market, as commodity market is also available. So this is a kind of a commodity which is being sold and purchased on the kind of a commodity market, and there are buyers and sellers of all this. Certain countries and companies are plus, and certain countries and companies are minus. So whose plus is selling and whose minus is buying, and it is a monetary value which is there. And so you see, I mean, very smart people how they have done it, because at the end of the day, maybe they thought it over that any kind of preaching in this domain will not do any good. So where it will hurt, only then the countries and the companies will follow line, and it hurts only when you link everything with kind of a money. पैसे के साथ जोड़ दो, money makes the merry go round, and then every person, whether he is individual or he is a company or he is a country, if it hurts him that okay, I am paying this and my balance sheet is going red because of this aspect, then maybe I stop it. Otherwise, there was no other way to actually because this is a global committee. It cannot be done by one country as such overall. It is the overall domain of all universe, all countries in the world, which have to come together and to get it across. And then through this, they have their own, hegemony also available, that now at one point of time when these rules were not there, we developed ourselves. Now, if you do it, you pay for it. So it becomes a market for them also. So there in this hegemony, they are up as such. Maybe our countries, though we are talking about Make in India and all these aspects, and India is not a signatory. Yes, they'll be the worst sufferers. And here when they see how smartly and how beautifully they said you remain at that level, and if you go beyond that level, you pay for it as such. See, so this carbon trading as such becomes a market for reducing greenhouse emissions by giving a monetary value. I've explained this, and there is an internal cost of doing business. See, if you want to go from, let's say, 10 ton to 11 tons, you have to see that if my capacity increases to that extent, whether my money that I'll be getting by increasing this capacity will be able to, make profits on one hand, and after doing the profits, the kind of money that I have to pay for this 1 ton emission, whether it is going to take care of that, then it is fine. So it is kind of a tax, you may say so. I mean, you can have as much as possible. मतलब बिजली है आपके पास, चाहे आप 10 यूनिट जलाओ, you pay for it. If अगर आप 100 यूनिट जलाओ, then you pay for it. Nobody is asking you to stop, but then the more you save, the more you earn. That way it is possible. So they have done it very smartly. So carbon trading, companies like, now just go on to the question that I asked, the cases I asked you initially. So companies that sell carbon credits to commercial and individuals who are interested in lowering their emission levels on a voluntary basis, that means somebody who has a surplus, will be able to sell it. Somebody who has a deficit will able to purchase it. And there are exchanges available, like you have exchange platform to trade, so which are available, and you can very well, you need not exchange. The benefit of exchange is that you need not scouting for, surplus and deficit. On exchange, each one is available. There is somebody who has surplus, he is available, and somebody who has a deficit, he is available. That is the beauty of exchange. So currently there are 5 exchanges which are therein in terms of carbon lines. And if you see on the projector, European Climate Exchange is there in Nasdaq, OMX Commodities Europe. Then you have Power Next Commodity Exchange, Bratislava, and European Energy Exchange. So that is therein. And see this, the pricing of carbon as such, it goes on increasing or decreasing, because as if somebody follows the share market, so let's say the share of Reliance Industries Limited today 2000, so there is no guarantee that tomorrow it will be 2000 only. It may go on to 1900 also, 1800 also, or 2400 also. So this is, since it is exchange, so I'm not sure what is the present pricing as such, but this keeps on changing as such. And somebody said that overall, if you see the market of what is the market of carbon credits, it is a big market. Roughly it was 30 billion pounds in 2007, and now it is around 50 billion euros today, which is a big money. And Louis Redshaw, who is the head of environmental markets at Barclays Capital, he predicts that carbon will be the world's biggest commodity market, and it could become the world's biggest market overall. So it is too big. It is too big, and it has the potential of becoming the biggest of the markets overall in terms of all commodity aspects. If you know commodity, you have gold, silver, all these, even spices, or even wheat, even rice, which is available for exchange in terms of the commodity exchange, wherein somebody who is a surplus can sell it, and it is all paper. So he estimates, Mr. Louis Redshaw, that carbon will be the world's biggest commodity market. I mean, it has that kind of a potential which is there. Those countries, like I was initially talking about, America, even India, China, because it is industrialized country, and it is further industrializing very fast. India also. So we have avoided those mandatory caps which have been set up. And the other criticism that comes around is these developed nations, they first polluted, and now they are hampering the industrial growth. And then where to draw a line as such, wherein maybe tomorrow it may lead to some kind of a conflict between the nations also, because those countries which are still very underdeveloped or developing as such, they'll not take it very kindly to that aspect that when our time of industrialization comes up, then you preach certain things to us as such. Now, if we take certain examples of the carbon credits as such, we have many. In this the country itself. Now they are aware, and they are earning much money into the. So one of them is Gujarat Fluorochemicals Limited, which made more than around $167 million by selling 9 million CR setup system. And the idea was that they came out with a system to decompose this gas, which was a greenhouse gas, and they made money because of this aspect. Then the Delhi Metro Rail Corporation, it's by using certain kind of a technology in braking, while that the train is on and you brake, so it was also creating some kind of a pollution. So they used the technology which was more friendly in nature, and they saved around 19 million from the sale of this certified emission reduction. Then you have a small village in Andhra Pradesh by the name of Pavarguda. So this AP village made around $650 sale CRs to the World Bank. What they did was they extracted biodiesel from the trees which were available rather than the fossil fuels. So diesel was available there. So as such, there are many number of examples which is therein, and if you just go on to, which just makes on to say that if we go for something which is a better technology, which is a better process, or which is a renewable kind of a system, wherein the environment is also not hampered, and the industrialization or whatever growth you want like to have, even that is not going to hamper. And if somebody is doing it, then he is in a surplus or a plus, and then he can make money from this aspect also. Further, you see the Arvind Mills, which is running a denim plant. All jeans and all that we wear, the material comes from Arvind Mills. The brand could be Lee or anybody, but the material, the jeans material, come from the Arvind Mills only. So they set up this environmental management system, and which was, whatever waste the industrial house produced, the idea was to use that waste in a better manner, so that it does not produce pollution. And they saved around 0.15 million. Similarly, Kirloskar oil engines, this is another in India. They also set up environment management system, and they saved around $4 million rupees on to this aspect by coming out with a zero discharge, and annual saving was around $0.325 million. Then similarly, you had Tamil Nadu Spinning Mills Association, which came out with 300 windmills. And see, this is another form of renewable energy being brought into the system, wherein apart from fossil fuels, you have the entire power being generated by windmills here. So herein they also, by way of producing energy from windmills, they came out, they saved certain, those carbon credits, and which they later sold it. Similarly, Torrent Power, again company as such, they moved to the natural gas, which is less polluting in nature, from fossil fuels to the natural gases. Natural gases, it is polluting though, but it is quite less polluting if we compare it with the fossil fuels. And even cement, like if you just see the first slides, which I said that the more culprit industries are, textile, cement, power, then your paper industries, fertilizers. These are more polluting in nature. But just by way of little tweaking in terms of the technology, in terms of the processes, in terms of the systems, and by being aware that this is being produced, certain emissions which may go a little down if we have certain better technologies, they can be, rather than culprits, they can be producers also of the surplus carbon credits. So cement industry, while it shifted from clinkers to coal ash, see, their pollution levels went down, emission levels went down. So therefore, if there are quotas and caps available, and if they have to go on these caps, so herein in this case, by just using this raw material of coal ash rather than clinkers, their emission levels come down. Maybe they come to a manageable level, and they can be the plus part as such. And see, there are many nations also which are now in terms of green nations or AQ nations as such. So these are the nations which are keeping in view, lot of attention is being given to come out with Ecoprenuers or with such technologies, systems, processes which are favoring sustainable development. One of the nation is Bhutan. I hope everybody knows about Bhutan. Bhutan is one nation, very nearby to India. It is between the states of Sikkim and West Bengal, very nearby as such. So this is one nation which is not very industrially developed, but see, they have a good ecology as such. And by way of the plantation of trees, afforestation and all, they have earned much money in terms of carbon credits as such. And that is rather because it is nearby to India also, so it is helping us also. Similarly, Bangladesh also is quite aware about this, and they are also making a lot of efforts and into this domain and to this aspect. And there could be other nations also, but this came to my mind that they are doing a lot of good work as such. There was a conference wherein in an university wherein the head, I think the president or the prime minister of Bhutan had come up. So then he was mentioning that that you would be quite unaware that apart from that Bhutan has never been a country which is known for aggressive means and all this. So one aspect is that we are a country which is doing so good for the environment and the ecology. And he quoted a figure also, which I'm not remembering, that we are earning so much in terms of carbon credits by way of afforestation and all. So I think this is a very apt way, wherein just by being aware about things, we can also bring about that there are so much lands available which are barren in nature. So a lot of afforestation can be done into this. And I think if you go by, I don't know whether the Chandigarh administration as such had ever thought of, coming out with carbon credits and carbon appreciation, wherein because this is one of the cities in this country which is quite green in nature, and wherein I think it will be producing much carbon credit as such. But I'm not sure whether even if we are aware about this, and it has the potential to earn a lot of money for the city as such, wherein there will be no need of government budgets or grants to run the city. Just because of carbon credits, I think we can have it and run this aspect. And there can be so many novel ways of doing it. This kind of buildings that we have here, let's say you just see the Nitter building, we can install solar panels out here. I think maybe Amar, we have already installed? Already installed. And are we producing all electricity here?
Maximum 40%.
40%.
Block is full on solar, and all the houses are on solar. Their water supply.
Yes, and maybe I don't know whether you have you've tied up with some agency for that putting this into carbon credits and earning money from this aspect. So this can be explored. Even our building, like we have at MGCPA, we have huge buildings. Again, we have around 16-17 acre campus, and rather they have done it, we have not done it. So that is a potential that we have. Maybe we can have a 60, 70, 80% on solar panels and all, and we can use it. And we have around 3 and 3.5 acres, which is lying barren, which we can have forestation, maybe 100, 400, 500 plants are available there. And this, they can be used. Maybe if we can earn maybe 10 or 50 or 100 carbon credits, multiplied with $30 is a huge amount. And if you do it throughout the city, so I think this city has the potential to come up with good carbon credits, wherein there will be, at one point of a time, there will be no need for any kind of a government grant as such. And apart from this, if we go towards Himachal Pradesh or towards Haryana, especially this part or the southern part, wherein a lot of it available. But we need to, make the people aware about all this, especially the policy makers. Once they are aware about this, then this awareness can be taken to other level. And then maybe the small things like e-batteries or battery scooters or your e-autos, then solar panels. So small things, and then saving on electricity by way of CFLs. Even CFL, I was reading, I have not quoted here, but I was reading that some plant, I suppose Tata's or so, there's something known as energy audit, which is now quite common, which is there. So by energy audit, then you tend to become aware. This you can note down, and maybe you can, while you have some time, you can get into and get the initials of what it is all about, and then inklings, and then go about it. So all companies, generally good companies, they have something known as energy audit. So energy audit, they try to find out that who's wasting my energy and who's saving my energy. And then by just making people aware of it, that can be saved. And if you save it for your institution, you save a lot of money. You saving it for the country, and then overall it is going towards the green part. And then alternative sources of energy, like I'm talking about, we should move from fossil fuels to e-part, battery part, and then therein also, like even cycling to that aspect. that for some small distances, like if we are talking about Chandigarh, Chandigarh is encouraging cycling in a big way. If you see, go to China, China as such, cities like Shanghai and all, they have now, you know, put a lot of emphasis on cycling, wherein there are different cycling tracks are available, and people are encouraged to that aspect. Rather, even, you know, automobiles are, they have started discouraging automobiles. Countries like Singapore, because it's a country where you say it's a country, but it's just a city. It's a city maybe slightly bigger than Chandigarh. Huh? So they say that if you want to buy a vehicle there, then you should show that I have a parking space. Otherwise, you pay for, let's say, if somebody has a parking space and he doesn't have a vehicle, and if you have to show that parking space as yours, you have to pay him rent. So that discourages that aspect. So I think it is alternative sources wherein you move from, you know, because idea is that we have to move from fossil fuels. So fossil fuels, these vehicles are the culprit, and your industry is the culprit. So vehicles, you should move from those wherein you can go to alternative, like I'm talking about cycling, and then we are talking about e-cycles, e-rickshaws, then alternative sources of energy like wind energy, solar energy, then water energy, thermo, and all these, so that we are not using petrol, we are not using coal, we are not using CNG, we are using them lesser and lesser. Though it is being used, we cannot, you know, get rid of all this altogether. But then, and then apart from this, we are coming out with sources and plans wherein we are trying to improve our environment by afforestation as such. So I think if we go on all these three parameters to all these aspects, then our carbon credits are being created. And once we have carbon credits, I mean, if now just see the smartness of these people, they have put in everything in terms of money. So if you have money and if you want to waste it, then okay, do it. You can expand it as much as possible. But on the other hand side, you can save it also for yourself. And once you become a surplus, maybe producing, so then there are exchanges available wherein you can you know, sell it to somebody who has a deficit to that aspect. So linking this with money aspects, you know, by way of carbon trading, carbon credits as such, they have put up a sort of a small tax therein. And I think over a period of time, because being aware is the first step, then taking steps on getting on to, you know, find out the solution is the second step. So we are still on the first step as such, wherein we are becoming aware by way of these sessions and all these aspects. And but tomorrow, while we start doing it, and even the government has to have a big role to play there to, you know, come out with certain technologies which are viable in nature. Let's say if you ask anybody here that you want to go for a solar panel, so the first the problem is that it is very costly. If you compare it with, let's say, water from a geyser and electricity unit, maybe the per unit cost would be lesser, but installing that would be much more costlier. Your geyser may cost, I think, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, but that may cost around maybe 80,000 or 1 lakh rupee. So first thing that the government has to do is to encourage certain companies like Suzlon to come out with maybe panels which are more technologically oriented, but which has the cost of maybe suppose 20,000 rupees. Then once you do it, the per unit cost of maybe a geyser may be 6 rupees or 10 rupees. And herein this cost would be just 1 rupee, 2 rupee. That is one thing to come by. Secondly, then you have to come by and make people aware, like people are doing in terms of CFL. I don't know how much we are aware, because if you go by, a lot of advertisement is therein, but still people are preferring tube lights and other bulbs and all. So if we are made aware, and somehow even if the government provides maybe 1-2 CFLs free of cost, it will not matter, because if you see the energy audit, the kind of energies overall in this country, or first starting with the city, village, and then if you add it to the entire country, the amount of energy that will be saved will be a much plus in terms of the carbon credits. So it will very much, you know, balance the cost part. Then the renewable things like E, and that too with good technologies. Somehow government को जो ये अच्छी technologies हैं, इसको they should propagate and they should encourage to that extent that it becomes a viable thing. Then bigger institutions, I think, if the building has to be passed, there should be a clause that they should have certain things like solar panels. we are giving you electricity connection, fine, but that should be used just as a last resort. Let's say in today's weather, there's no sunlight, but yes, and there is something known as a storage also, which will be there. And so a lot of works for the engineers to do here, and lot of research. I think some money should be put into that research also. So if it is done, then I think over a period of maybe 20, 30, 50 years, we will be, quite aware about it. Solutions will be there, and then we can talk about what we term as a sustainable development, and wherein the industry is also growing, GDP is there. Because if the industry does not grow and employment is not generated, then how do we fight the poverty? Then we will not be able to fight the poverty, because jobs are very much required, and jobs will only come when there is work, when capacities are created, when industrialization is therein. Because organized sector, if you go by in today's India's environment itself, it is just 1% of the overall jobs are in the organized sector. People like you, me, and all, we are into this 1%. 99% they are not into this organized sector. Somebody is a rickshaw puller, somebody is a vendor, somebody is a sabji wala, baji wala. Ye organized sector thodi hai. This is jobless growth. So then we have to find out ways. And if we, let's say, if you see the China model as such, that is the fastest growing economy along with India as such. But they have grown because of manufacturing. We are growing because of services. But then it has to come into that sustainable model, and that is why China has not signed to it, because they know we have to grow. India also to that extent. But India is not doing much in terms of the manufacturing sector. That is why the call of the Prime Minister of Make in India, though it has just become a slogan, not much has been done into this aspect, but maybe somebody is now being aware. And that way, if the government gets into it and then encourages the green technology, encourages green processes, encourages green systems, and then comes out with, some kind of maybe the science and technology department with subsidies, with maybe encouragement as such, and then actually helps them and motivates them to get through. So I think it has the potential of coming out with alternative technologies also. And then some systems wherein, like I was talking, that your building will not be passed till the time you have alternative sources. So now you come out with your own energy also, and then maybe if you are surplus, the government is there to purchase it. And this awareness about energy audit. So I think if we do all these things aspect all together, then maybe over a period of time, we'll be able to do much better into this domain. There's a reference. This was all. Then there's a video that I would like you to see, maybe 5 minutes or so. This I just saw in the morning. I'll run it again. So could you get what was the sense of this video?
These raining seeds is like having a lot of plants, like seeds in place, so that you have multiple plants being planted at a single point of time. So it's a kind of way of afforestation.
Yeah.
Now they're coming.
See, this is, if you just see, because I think it runs very fast and that doesn't give you much time. You have to see it 2-3 times to actually get the hold of it. It's actually an initiative by the government of Thailand, wherein they were saying that because of industrialization and all infrastructure coming up, lot many the deforestation was on, so they were cutting trees and all the area was barren. So what they did was that through this technology, they derived this technology from some Japanese. Japanese are quite good on it. So they come with seed bombs. Now, what is a seed bomb is that it contains of 2-3 things. One is compost, one is the seed, and other is the clay. So they made up sort of a bomb like this, just like a toffee, है ना वो जैसे बच्चों का होता है, like a small one, rasgulla type. Then this is, and then through by way, and then they said that it is, maybe it's a tested technology when I was not aware of it, that there is no need to plow as such, because while we plow, then only the seeds germinate. But through this technology, through the aeroplane goes above and then it sends these bombs down. They said it's bomb, seed bomb. उसको नीचे फेंका and over a period of time वो तीनों चीजें available है जो उसको चाहिए. पानी ऊपर से मिल जाता है, compost is therein, that is manure, seed is therein, and clay is therein.
Once the compost is having, it will prevent the moisture of that. The clay will prevent the moisture also, so it lets the seeds to grow. So you need not to throw them in. You can throw them like that also. And
I think then once they are therein, the roots and all will be picked by the soil which is underneath, and then over a period of time it grows. So maybe let's say if we send 100 bombs, 100 may not grow, maybe 70, 80 or 60, 50 grow, but then it's a big plus, and there's not much time is not consuming, also not human effort is also therein, and that just aeroplane goes above the surface and then it sends it across. So it is a novel way. I think sometimes I feel that these are small countries like Thailand, Southeast Asian, Indonesia, Malaysia, when they can do and come out with certain, all these technologies, and we are a very big country as such, with and who pride themselves to be, a traditional country with lots of brains and Nalanda, Takshila, and who's powering your Silicon Valley and America as such. Somehow I don't know why we cannot do all these stuff in our country as such, wherein lot of land is available, lot of awareness is being created these days. The government is flush with funds, especially the central government. They can put in lot of money into this aspect, Ministry of Environment and Forest as such, for this afforestation. And let's say if somehow maybe this technology can be adapted or adopted as such, and then can be used for those areas which we have. Even we have, our terrain is quite good. We have a very big terrain which is available, and this can be used out there. So this, I thought, I just saw it in the morning, sent by somebody on my Facebook account. So I thought maybe it will be useful. So this was all that I wanted to discuss. Any questions on your end, the live audience also, and the others that you'd like to ask?
Any questions from your side?
Yeah, please.
In case of carbon emissions, is there any limit that one industry like of this much of size can emit this amount of carbon without any fine or something like this? What is the limit for it?
See, if you just go by the slides that I show you, there's something known as a national registry. National registry will mean that this is the country, and every country is given some kind of a cap. That is the cap. Now, let's say the country is, suppose India, they have given you caps of, let's say, 1 million, these carbon credits. Now, in this 1 million carbon credits, then they further divide it to all these. Then it becomes your own aspects. And every should, though we are not signatories as such, we have not adhered to or agreed to upon the cap. Then we should say that cement, because their culprits are 5-6 only. Your cement, steel, power, textiles, then your paper. So these are certain culprits who are therein, and then you can give to each of them some cap. And if they are able to abide by that cap, they need not pay. But if they have to want to go above that cap, they have to pay, either in terms of, so this, if you see, this helps to motivates you to push for green technology also over a period of time. मतलब आपको लगेगा कि हम उसके बराबर आ गए हैं, अब हमारे पास फंड है, तो क्यों ना हम इस फंड में से कुछ फंड जो है वो लगा दें ग्रीन टेक्नोलॉजी के ऊपर, बिकॉज टुमारो इट विल सेव अस अ लॉट ऑफ मनी व्हाइल वी गो फॉर द कैपेसिटी यूटिलाइजेशन. जी, एनी अदर क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम एनी सेंटर who are linked with us? Odisha, Maharashtra, Mulana,
I thank all the Noodle Centers for being with us, and I thank the participants at this institution, and nevertheless, I thank Dr. Sanjeev Chadda for being with us for a wonderful session on carbon credits and trading. And
Thank you so much, Amarjit, for providing this opportunity. Thanks a lot for this lovely audience. Thank you.